Welcome to LC Screen Talk. My name is Larry, and today I'm sharing my 2018 Oscar predictions. Like many of my fellow movie fans, Oscar season is one of the funnest seasons of the year for me. Following as we go through all the precursor awards, seeing as the drama builds up, the different races start to take shape as we inch closer and closer to film's biggest night, the Academy Awards. This year, the Oscars are all the way back in March, so this is a pretty late date for the award ceremony. So today, I will be sharing all of my predictions for each of the categories that will be awarded come awards night, as well as my personal picks on who should win each and every category. So this is it, my official predictions, and who I hope is able to pull off that upset come awards night. Kicking things off, we have Best Adapted Screenplay. And I think that these are all very solid choices. And I am so happy still that Logan was able to break into the category. And being the first ever comic book adaptation is win enough for Logan. Because unfortunately, it has no shot at actually winning this award. As great as the Disaster Artist script was, I also think that one doesn't really have a shot. And that leaves us with the three most likely candidates to be able to win this award, with Call Me By Your Name, Molly's Game, and Mudbound. And honestly, I think Molly's Game only has a very, very slight chance of pulling an upset here because of Sorkin, but I don't think it really has a shot to win. And when it comes down to Call Me By Your Name and Mudbound, this is also a pretty clear race, and this is one in which I agree with who I think is going to be the ultimate winner. So, who should win and who will win is Call Me By Your Name. This screenplay is fantastic, and I think, unfortunately, the film is going to be shut out everywhere else. I think this is the one and only category in which Call Me By Your Name is going to be able to get a victory, and I think they will award it. And then we move over to Best Original Screenplay, and this one is much more competitive and was very difficult to give my prediction. So we're going to start out with who I think should win this award, and for me, it's an easy one. It's Get Out. I think Get Out had the best screenplay, period, for 2017. Between original, adapted, any of them, I think its screenplay was so fantastic. And it was original, it was subtle, and it was just smart. Complete intelligence from Jordan Peele on this one. And it's definitely in contention here. So looking at these nominees, The Big Sick should be happy that it received any love from the Academy, and that love in the form of nomination is going to be its only love here. It has almost no shot of winning. Then one of our major contenders and favorites for Best Picture, The Shape of Water, is the next one to be eliminated, I think. I don't really think the screenplay itself is a shining moment for the film. It's not a bad screenplay, and that's why it did get nominated, but it's not really up to the other three, if you will. And then that leaves us with the three big contenders, Lady Bird, Get Out, and Three Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri. And for a while, I think Lady Bird was in strong contention for this, but it seems as the other statues have been passed out, Lady Bird has fallen off by the wayside just a bit, so I'm going to eliminate that. And it leaves us with my pick, Get Out, versus Three Billboards. So Get Out won the Critics' Choice Awards as well as the Writers Guild Awards, while Three Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri has won the Golden Globes and the BAFTA Awards. They're pretty evenly matched, they're pretty evenly split, and I think right now the odds still have Get Out as a slight favorite when it comes to winning this award. And I think Get Out very well could be the winner, the one I'm hoping for, because like Call Me By Your Name, I think the screenplay is the only place that Get Out can sneak an award. So it is a big possibility that the Academy votes for Get Out strong for screenplay because they're not going to award it anywhere else. But ultimately, my personal pick is going to be that Three Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri does win. I don't think its screenplay is nearly as good, but it is a very dialogue-heavy screenplay, and it has won a couple of the big precursors, and it has the best shot at actually winning for Best Picture. And I think they're gonna give it to the dialogue-heavy, fast, like fierce screenplay over the slightly more subtle and nuanced. Then we move along to Best Visual Effects. Now this one was very, very tough as well. I think it is a two-horse race here. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, Kong Skull Island, and Star Wars The Last Jedi. Be happy you were nominated, but you have literally like zero shot at winning. This is 100% between Blade Runner 2049 and War for the Planet of the Apes. And oof, I think this one is definitely going to come down to the wire. So for who I think should win, it's War for the Planet of the Apes. I love the visuals here. I love that hyper-realistic visual effect, and I think it's been done fantastically in all three of these late films, and neither of the other two have won yet. And actually, the Planet of the Apes franchise has never won in this category, and those other two amazing films weren't really awarded anything either. So I hope it wins. However, my pick on who will win is going to be Blade Runner 2049. Again, these are more flashy visual effects. I think that they are more in your face on what the visual effects are, and they are fantastic. It's a close number 2 for me personally. But the Academy just has not shown love to the Planet of the Apes franchise, including for War of the Planet of the Apes. It could have gotten nominated in things like score, but they almost completely shut it out, and they haven't really taken to the other two. Blade Runner 2049 has a chance in at least a couple other awards, but I think it gets on the board early with visual effects here. Next up, we have sound mixing. This was another very competitive race for me. Blade Runner 2049, Star Wars The Last Jedi, and The Shape of Water. Thank you for playing, but I think that this is definitely another two-horse race between Baby Driver and Dunkirk. The big shame of the night may be Baby Driver getting completely shut out, because unfortunately, as great as it is in the 3 categories it's nominated for, Dunkirk is arguably as good or just slightly behind, but is the overall favorite of the awards voters. So there is a distinct possibility that Dunkirk wins all of the awards that Baby Driver maybe arguably should be taking home. So if you haven't guessed it, Best Sound Mixing, I think Baby Driver should win. I mean, it was a masterpiece in sound mixing. And while Dunkirk is very good in the sound mixing category, and you hear people talking over gunshots and such, it's not as revolutionary to me. It's not as precise and exciting and really perfect as Baby Driver is. So I'm very reluctant and hesitantly going to say that Baby Driver will win for sound mixing as well. This is the category that musicals win a lot of the time. And I think Baby Driver's closer to that musical formula. It just executes it even better than most musicals. So I hope it does win, and I think it just may sneak it out here. Then we move over to sound editing. I think that the same 3 films can be eliminated in this category. Thank you for playing. We have Dunkirk and Baby Driver yet again. On this one, I think that Dunkirk should win, because war films often win this category because it's much more difficult to create the gun sounds, the propelling sounds, the ship sounds. All of the different type of sounds you hear in these war films are all artificially created to amazing effect, and Dunkirk does them all fantastically well. And in saying that, this award usually is given to a war film, so I think that Dunkirk will win this one as well. Live-action short films. I was able to see the showcase for these, like I usually do. I make it an annual thing. And these were all great. I actually enjoyed all of these films. DeKalb Elementary may very well win because it's very topical about a school shooting. I didn't love how it entirely played out, but I do think it was a strong entry. The 11 O'Clock was hilarious, and actually our only kind of lighter toned film of the bunch. So it was a beautiful break in the showcase, but it also was very well executed. I loved it personally. Wate Wate was also very strong, based on a true story. I thought it broke some important barriers. It was a great story to tell, and it was also well executed. But my two favorites of the category were The Silent Child and My Nephew Emmett. I think that they were the most impactful. I actually was stunned at how well executed The Silent Child was. And then we got to My Nephew Emmett, and it was just tension-filled, edge of your seat, horrifying to watch. Ultimately, I think who should win is who's going to win, and I'm taking a guess at it and saying My Nephew Emmett. This one, of course, is definitely a wild card up there, but we'll see come awards night, because actually all 5 of these are deserving of the win. Then we move over to Best Animated Short, and these ones are a much more interesting crop of films. They're all very, very different. Lou is the Pixar entry. It's gorgeous, of course. It has the biggest budget of all these films, and it had a very nice little story, but I do think it's on the weaker side of the nominees, and I don't think Pixar is going to win here. Garden Party, I think, actually may be the most revolutionary animation. It looked photorealistic. I mean, the animation in Garden Party was amazing, and the story actually unfolded very cool, but it was a very weird little animated short. So I don't think it's actually going to win, but if we were basing this on animation, I kind of think it should. And then we get to Dear Basketball, which Kobe Bryant wrote. It's like a love letter poem to basketball itself, and it won the Annie Award. So I'm scared that it may sneak the win here. In the Me Too era, the Time's Up era, I want to remind Hollywood that Kobe Bryant is an accused rapist that did it right here in my home city of Denver, Colorado. Wasn't tried, wasn't acquitted, wasn't found innocent. He paid her off to go away. And I think it would be terrible for them to send all these messages, not nominate people like James Franco, and then be like, oh yeah, well, we don't really keep up with anything that's not in our industry, and we don't care about women affected by professionals in sports or other forms of entertainment or the workplace. So basically I'm saying anything except for Dear Basketball, I'm happy with winning this award. But I am going to say who I personally think should win is Revolting Rhymes. So the animation is a cuter animation, but I think from a storytelling perspective, this was the strongest. It was, I think, the longest of the 5, but it tells a complete narrative, and it spins what we already know and spins these fairy tales on a very, very fun twist, and I thought it was really, really well done. I think that Negative Space will be our winner. It was also a very charming stop-motion film. It's been winning a lot of the precursor awards. It won a lot on the indie awards circuit, so I think it'll take home the trophy. For Best Production Design, I think this one is ultimately going to come down between Blade Runner 2049 and The Shape of Water. And as much as I love Blade Runner 2049, who should win is The Shape of Water, and to me, it's not even close. The production design on this film was absolutely fantastic. It creates this magical experience and world that completely envelops you, and since it's the biggest awards contender in terms of Best Picture, I think it's going to win as well, but I wouldn't be shocked if Blade Runner 2049 pulled the upset. Next, I'm going to do the 3 categories in which I don't have a should win, because unfortunately I haven't seen the films in the category. I'm going to make a prediction still, because hey, everybody makes predictions, but I'm not going to give you a should win, because I haven't seen them. So we're going to start with Best Foreign Film, in which I've heard a lot of good things about a lot of these films. In particular, I know The Square, lit up the film festival circuit and was a huge favorite going in. But in recent times, especially given the progressive nature of the behind the scenes camera as well as the woman herself, I think A Fantastic Woman will win this award. Next, we have documentary shorts. Again, I haven't seen them. I have heard fantastic and wonderful and beautiful things about plenty of these short films, but I maybe have heard the best things about Edith and Eddie, so I'm going to say that one will win. And then we get to documentary feature. Again, I've heard a lot of great things. From what I've gathered, this looks to be between Icarus and Faces Places, and I think that maybe Faces Places had the more gripping of the stories, the more heart-pulling, heart-tugging type of story. and it's gotten great reviews. I'm gonna say who will win, Faces Places. Next up, with makeup and hairstyling, this one is pretty much a done deal. So who I think should win is Darkest Hour, and who I think will win is Darkest Hour. All you have to do is watch Gary Oldman play Winston Churchill, and you know why this is going to win, but you also know why it's deserving. I mean, his makeup is impeccable, and it's seamless. You can't even tell who it is under there. So I think it does a lot of the work for helping Gary Oldman in his acting performance, and it definitely deserves the win for that, and I think it'll get it. Moving right along to Best Costume Design. I actually don't really know why Darkest Hour is nominated here, so we can just kind of throw that one out right away. The Shape of Water has very nice costumes. I just don't think they hold up to the rest. And Beauty and the Beast did a very good recreation job, but it, or Victoria and Abdul, don't stand up to the originality of the costumes in Phantom Thread. This is a movie all about a fashion designer that kind of revolves around not only the relationship, obviously, but around the fashions and around the garments and the clothes. So it definitely should win because they were fantastic. And for most of those reasons I just listed, and since the Academy seemed to really take to Phantom Thread, this is the category. It pulls off the win. Now on to Best Original Song. Now this is another very, very competitive category in which I have flip-flopped on my answer so many times on who I think is actually going to take home the award. First, Mighty River is a very strong and powerful song by Mary J. Blige from Mudbound, but unfortunately it's really only played over the end credits. Thankfully, it's played after we just got the impactful moments of the film that really correlate to the song well, but it's still an end credit song, and I always have a little bit of problem picking those. Stand Up for Something is another very good, very powerful song. It's just not as memorable, and it's not as integral to the quality of film as the other three are. So when we get to my pick on who should win, it's definitely Mystery of Love from Call Me By Your Name. I've listened to this song maybe a million times at this point. I absolutely adore it. I think it is an amazing song in its own right. It's completely separate from the film. I think it's the best song on this category without question. And it perfectly represents the tone and feeling and atmosphere of the film it's representing. It's absolutely beautiful, gorgeous, while still being kind of haunting. I love it. Unfortunately, I don't think it is going to win. This is definitely between This Is Me from The Greatest Showman and Remember Me from Coco. I would say they are also very deserving, though, because these two songs directly play a part in the storytelling of their film. They are essential to the film overall. Remember Me plays a part in the, ultimate peak, the climax of the film. It's an amazing, beautiful, sentimental song. And actually, Remember Me was my pick to win for a very long time. But I've switched, and I'm gonna go out on a little bit of a limb here with the critically mixed Greatest Showman and say This Is Me will win this award. First of all, it's a very uplifting song. It's from the writers from the La La Land musical from last year. And it's a very catchy song. It is a very empowering song. And here's the thing. It's from a musical, first of all. But it's also done a much better job of campaigning. This song has been everywhere. It's been in Olympics ads. It has been all over. They've had Keala Settle out there performing this song. This was already the mantra for the film. I think they have just done such a better job of branding this song and promoting this song and pushing it for this Oscar than Pixar has done for Remember Me. I also think, honestly, it's a more memorable song. One that more easily sticks in your head. It's more of an earworm than Remember Me. You can easily remember these lyrics in comparison to Remember Me. Thus, I think it's going to win. Moving along to Best Original Score, our other music category. I think that the scores here are pretty solid. But this one is pretty much a no-brainer. So for who should win is also who is going to win. My favorite score out of any film in 2017, and that is The Shape of Water. I mean, it's pretty much swept all of the original score awards coming into awards night, and I don't think the Oscars are going to pull any upset here. This one's virtually in the bag. For film editing, another really difficult one, and while there are plenty of great nominees here, this is our third category to be Baby Driver vs. Dunkirk. So we're fresh off of the BAFTAs, who awarded Baby Driver in a little bit of a shock to me. And let me tell you, Baby Driver is my pick on who should win. As I mentioned with the sound mixing, this is a masterclass in editing. I don't know that I've ever seen a film quite edited so sleek, but so efficiently and effectively and accurately. I really think it is a tour de force in all editing aspects. So for me, without question, Baby Driver's the winner here. However, I think I'm going to be disappointed come awards night. I think that Dunkirk ultimately will win for film editing. It is the contender, and editing often rewards Best Picture nominees, and Dunkirk is by far the best edited of all of the Best Picture nominees, and it's edited very well, so I won't be completely mad, just a bit disappointed. So I'm hoping Baby Driver is able to pull off an ex machina type of surprise and win out of the clear blue in this category, but I think it'll be Dunkirk. Next up is animated feature, and this was a shock when we all saw The Boss Baby get in, but come awards night there will be no shocks. So who should win is who will win, and that is Coco. It's a tour de force. It's Pixar back at its peak, and I think Coco is the best animated feature film of last year, and I don't think the Academy is going to throw a curveball in on this category at all. So this is another done deal that you can write and pin on your ballot. Moving right along to Best Cinematography. This one is a tighter race than I would like it to be. So, for who I think should win, Roger Deakins for Blade Runner 2049. For one, it's his time. That's what the Oscars are about, right? I mean, we'll see a little bit later with another category to come. You're all about awarding. This is time to give this person an award. These legends deserve it, and Roger Deakins, in his 14th nomination, is long past due, Academy. However, cinematography also lends itself well to Best Picture nominees, in which Blade Runner 2049 is not. So although it does have the BAFTA award, and it does have the American Society of Cinematographers award already, guess what? Roger Deakins has already won those two awards in the same year, and then went on to lose the Oscar. So I'm very nervous that it is going to lose. But it's just been such a juggernaut up to this point. Blade Runner 2049 was shut out of the major categories. I'm just going to say it. I think that Blade Runner 2049, Roger Deakins, will win this awards night. I have a very heavy heart feeling that I'm going to be sorely disappointed in this category, and Dunkirk will probably take home the award, but heck with it. I'm predicting Blade Runner 2049. Best Directing in a Film. So this was a little bit of a shocking category, but I don't think we're going to see many shocks moving forward. It was great to see Jordan Peele and Greta Gerwig even get nominated here. We were all scared they were going to be left out, but the nomination is the win there. And Paul Thomas Anderson was the shock nominee here, who also should just be happy he got in. Really, the only two that even stand a chance are Christopher Nolan and Guillermo del Toro. And as we've seen throughout all of award season, this one is pretty close to a done deal as well. So who I think should win is who I think is going to win, and that's going to be Guillermo del Toro. He pulls it all off. He deserves it. The Shape of Water was beautifully directed. Give the man his award. Now we move on to the acting categories, which are all a done deal at this point. And unfortunately, I don't agree with any of these categories. So let's start with Best Supporting Actor. Who I think should win is Willem Dafoe. He was the complete heart of the Florida Project. He was the glue that really held that film together from start to finish. I thought he really made the film something special, and I wish that he was the longtime actor that was finally getting his due. Who will win? Sam Rockwell. I mean, he's won everything leading up to this point, so I don't think the Academy's going to differ. For Best Supporting Actress, who I think should win, is Laurie Metcalf. She gives such a real, complex and genuine performance, one we have not seen from her, and it was amazing. I think she was absolutely amazing. And this was definitely the battle of the two not so great mothers early on in the race. However, who will win? Allison Janney from I, Tonya. She's been a tour de force throughout the entirety of awards season, and while I, Tonya wasn't loved by the Academy in many other categories, I would be stunned to see her lose at this point. For Best Lead Actor, who I think should win, Timothée Chalamet. He gives a real, subtle, nuanced, beautiful performance. I think, honestly, his acting without any words and just the final scene that leads into the end credits was the best bit of acting maybe I saw all year. It was so good, but he was so freaking good the entire film. And he was in contention for a while, but this also turned into a runaway race. And it will be Gary Oldman holding that Oscar come awards night. A little bit showy, and I think that the makeup definitely helped. Honestly, I think that this was a borderline caricature, but Gary Oldman is winning a Lifetime Achievement Award this year, which is also a little bit weird given his history of accusations of domestic abuse, but I guess if it's not of the sexual nature, then we're giving it a pass. And then we move to Lead Actress, so who I think should win? Sally Hawkins. She was fantastic. Again, another just nuanced, beautiful, emotionally devastating performance, and one that the Academy should love because they often do love seeing people with disabilities or something a little bit off about them. And Sally Hawkins is doing this all without actual word dialogue. Of course, she had to learn how to sign. I thought it was an absolutely stunning performance. However, who will win? Frances McDormand from 3 Billboards. This is also pretty much sewn up, done deal. She's won all the precursors. She's also fantastic, and I think just marginally behind Sally Hawkins for me, so I won't be all that mad at her win, but she's pretty much got this in the bag. And then we move on to Best Picture. So for my pick on who should win, it is one of the nominees who has no chance at winning, and that's Call Me By Your Name. I really do think it is nearly perfectly executed from all filmmaking standpoints. It is just, perfect. I don't think there's really much of a flaw in the film to be seen. But it didn't get a directing nod, it didn't get an editing nod, it majorly got left out of a lot of the big categories that signal a Best Picture win. It doesn't have a shot. Darkest Hour should probably be stunned and happy that they even got this nomination. No chance at winning. The Post got virtually shut out of the award season outside of actress and picture. No chance of winning. Phantom Thread got a ton of love, but it didn't get love for that screenplay, and I think that pretty much takes it out of contention, plus it hasn't won anything anywhere else. So that leaves us with Dunkirk, Get Out, Lady Bird, The Shape of Water, and 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri. I think Dunkirk has really caught the zeitgeist. It got plenty of awards, including getting Christopher Nolan his first ever directing award. But you'll notice it also didn't get a screenplay award. And why is that? Because a lot of people had a ton of issues with the screenplay itself. So I do think that Dunkirk has a very tiny chance of winning, but we're going to eliminate it right here. Next up, I have Get Out. I think it could win. It got nominated in a lot of the big precursor categories. I just don't think it will. So I'm eliminating that one as well. And then in third place, I'm going to put Lady Bird. It also got a direction nod as well as a screenplay nod, but it didn't get some of the more grand nominations for things like cinematography or editing. Thus, I think, unfortunately, Greta Gerwig's film is going to go home empty-handed. So our two real contenders, The Shape of Water and 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri. The Shape of Water has been winning the directing award across the board. It also won the Producers Guild Award. And it won a lot of early indicators. But amongst the big ones, we've seen a whole lot of 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri. The BAFTAs, the Golden Globes, the SAG Awards, they've all given the award to 3 Billboards. But the big monkey wrench comes in the fact that 3 Billboards didn't even get nominated for Best Director, which was a shock. but also maybe a sign of the backlash setting in just a bit for the film. Only 2 other times in history has a movie won for Best Picture without even getting nominated in Best Director. That was for Argo and for Driving Miss Daisy. And when it came to Argo, I think what won that film Best Picture was the backlash from Ben Affleck being left out of Best Director. However, I think people were shocked that Martin McDonagh didn't get nominated, but I don't think people are mad. I don't really think the Academy got a big backlash. And if anything, 3 Billboards has seen a mounting backlash. I think it's kind of stabilized in the category, and it's continued to win, but I think in the end, that direction snub and the controversy are what's going to take down 3 Billboards. This is a preferential ballot, so while I do think it's going to get a lot of 1, 2s, I think it's also going to get quite a few 7, 8s, and possibly even 9s on people's ballots. Whereas The Shape of Water is much more universally liked. I think a lot of people love the film, but I think most people like it more than they like several others of the category. So that means I think who will win is The Shape of Water. And let me tell you, I'm not mad about that, because right after Call Me By Your Name, this is my number 2. So those are all of my predictions, my thoughts, my views on each and every category for the upcoming Academy Awards. What did you think of my predictions? What did you think of my Who Should Win picks? And share your picks, and let's see who's right come Oscar night. Let me know either in the comment section down below or hit me up on Twitter. And if you enjoyed this video, make sure you click like down below and subscribe to the channel so you are always up to date on our latest videos. I love you all so much for your support. Mwah! Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!